First big news is coming from India. On Wednesday, India reported 2,021 deaths from COVID-19 overnight, and this is the highest reported numbers for any one day since the crisis began in the country. The devastating stats are causing much strain on essential services in the country. Hospitals and graveyards are full, with patients being turned away from some hospitals. The speed the second wave is going through India is causing a collapse, with families of the sick going to social media in a cry for help for healthcare and hospital beds. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has acknowledged the severity of the existing situation and is urging the states to use the state of emergency powers to introduce lockdowns similar to what Delhi has done. With shortages in oxygen nationwide, Mr Modi has ordered the delivery of 100,000 cylinders of oxygen, new oxygen production plants and hospitals to be created to aid in the health emergency. Now let's look at some important news from the back home. After a National Cabinet meeting in Australia's Prime Minister Scott Morrison has had to decrease the number of flights coming into Australia from India by 30%. The second most populous nation in the world reported 314,000 new cases of COVID overnight. The decrease applies to all flights, commercial and government organised. Sadly, people were gaining exemptions to travel for weddings and funerals, things that were banned in Australia. There are also new requirements for COVID-19 testing for those returning from high-risk countries, which includes an additional PCR test 72 hours before leaving the last place they embarked on the plane bound for Australia. The high-risk list of countries will be finalised and confirmed soon. At present, travellers are required to show a negative test before boarding any flights and are again tested twice before leaving hotel quarantine, once in Australia. But this is an additional rule that will involve being tested in between connecting flights as well. At present, these places include Doha, Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. Sydney is the only city that has a direct flight coming in from India, which at present is confirmed as a high-risk country. Australia currently has strict border entry rules in place, allowing only Australian residents and their families entry into the country without exemptions. And moving on, let's have a look at the COVID-19 related news from Australia. The Department of Health has forced 6 Victorians into 14 days isolation after possible links with the recent COVID-19 outbreak in the Sydney hotel quarantine. There are at present 19 active cases, all in Victorian hotel quarantine in the state. Contact tracers are working hard to find the people who stayed in the hotel between 7 to 12 April. There have been 3 people who have tested for the South African strain whilst staying at hotel quarantine, and these are 3 people from 2 separate families who were staying in adjacent rooms at the 𝐊𝐴 Hotel in Sydney's CBD. Victorian-based Qantas crew are working with health authorities over possible contact with the Auckland airport employee. The crew involved may be asked to test and quarantine for 14 days until they get a negative result after contact with the COVID-positive Auckland airport employee. Victorian health authorities are also contacting 520 passengers who arrived in Victoria from Auckland between April 17 to 20. It is advised that if you have travelled home from Auckland since 17 April, you should monitor for symptoms and isolate and get tested if symptoms such as sore throat, fever, dry cough and tiredness are noticed. And now I have one more important news to share. There are growing fears for the 53 men aboard the missing Indonesian submarine who have still not been found, despite search teams from Malaysia, Singapore, Australia and India on the hunt in waters off the coast of Bali. France and Germany have also offered to help. The German-built vessel is made to withstand pressure at depths of 250 metres. However, the waters they are missing in reach depths of 700 metres, so there are fears that the vessel may have already split in two. An oil slick at the dive entry point also is not giving much hope, as a fuel tank leak would prevent the vessel from undertaking usual emergency protocol due to power failure. The other major setback to this rescue mission is that there is only enough oxygen to last till Saturday morning. The vessel became submerged on Wednesday and KRI Nangala 402 lost contact with authorities Wednesday morning. The Foreign Minister Marise Payne showed her concern for the families of the missing men and wants to provide all the support possible in order to find the missing vessel. Thank you for your time watching. We'll be back with more live updates here at 𝐾𝐿 𝐶𝐼NE TV, and this is Sage signing off.